Shalom, Chanukah Sameach, Happy Chanukah, and welcome to Real Israel Productions, the place where Israel's past and present meet. What better place to shoot our Chanukah video than standing right above the Kotel HaMaravi and right near Har HaBayit, where so much of the miracle of Chanukah took place. Also standing in front of a menorah shel zahav. This menorah is an almost exact replica of the menorah that stood in the second Beit HaMikdash. It was built a number of years ago by the Temple Institute, and they hope that one day it will be used in the Beit HaMikdash. This menorah has in it almost 150 pounds of pure gold and cost well over $3 million to create. And let's hope we will all be zocheh, we will all merit seeing it lit in the Beit HaMikdash. And we know the story of Chanukah is around this menorah. But it's not the only story of Chanukah. Chanukah is also a story of heroism. It's about the Hashmona'i family and the battle that they fought against the Greeks and the Hellenists. Let's go and follow in the footsteps of the Maccabim and search for that ancient city of Modyin, where the Hashmona'i story began. Follow me as we walk in the footsteps of the Hashmona'im. But to get to the ancient city of Modyin, we need directions. I'm going to ask, Shalom.
Shalom.
How do I get to the ancient city of Modyin?
חביבי, אתה לא בברוקלין, תדבר עברית.
סלח לי, excuse me. How do I get, איך אני מגיע לעיר העתיקה של מודיעין?
אתה נוסע ישר, עד לטרון, ושם תשאל אם יסבירו לך.
עד לטרון?
עד לטרון.
תודה רבה. חנוכה שמח.
חנוכה שמח.
Shalom. On our way to the city of Modyin, we've stopped here in Latrun, and I'm standing now on top of an old Israeli tank. And you might be wondering, Rabbi, what are you doing on an Israeli tank? That story I'll tell you in a moment. But the story I want to tell you right now is a story about Chanukah. And it's a story that took place right across the valley from here in a place called Emmaus. You see, the valley that I'm standing by now is called Emek Ayalon, the Valley of Ayalon. Today it's where the Yerushalayim-Tel Aviv highway cuts right through the valley. You remember that valley from Yoshua. Shemash begivon dom v'yareach be'emek Ayalon, right here. And right across from where I'm standing is a place called Emmaus. And Emmaus is the spot where one of the most significant battles between the Hashmonaim and the Yevanim took place. You see, the Greeks had brought 5,000 of their finest soldiers right here, and they camped right at that spot where that building is. And they had planned from there to conquer and defeat the Maccabim. Yehuda Maccabi and his soldiers were camped just to your left on that hilltop in a place called Mitzpeh. The Greeks thought one night they're going to run a surprise attack and conquer the Maccabim. The Maccabim knew about it though, they heard. And what they did is they deserted their camp and they waited in the valley, and as soon as the Greeks left their camp, leaving only a few soldiers behind, they made their surprise attack on the Greeks. They took the Greek camp in Emmaus, and the Greeks, when they came back, saw that their camp was already destroyed and the Maccabim were waiting for them. They were surprised. They thought the Maccabim were gone, and they didn't expect them to be waiting there. The Maccabim defeated the 5,000 Greeks, even though they numbered in the hundreds. Many, many thousands of the Greeks were killed, and whoever was left alive ran all the way back to the coast. And the Maccabim had won, defeated the Greeks, and freed Yerushalayim and the Beit HaMikdash. So that important battle, the Battle of Emmaus, took place right across the valley from where I'm standing. But why am I in an Israeli tank? Well, you see there's more history here. Because the place where I'm sitting right now is called Latrun, as I mentioned before. The story of Latrun is a fascinating story. You see, this spot, as we saw before, overlooks the Yerushalayim-Tel Aviv highway. And the Jordanians had built a fort. You can see the building behind me. And from that fort, they controlled the Yerushalayim-Tel Aviv highway. In 1948, as soon as the state was established, the Jordanian army blockaded the Yerushalayim-Tel Aviv highway, not letting any food or water or supplies into Yerushalayim. 2 times the Israeli army, at that point a very, very young army, tried to take Latrun from the Jordanians but were not successful. In those battles, around 140 soldiers lost their lives. In order to bring food to Yerushalayim, the Israelis started to make a new road going through the mountains to Yerushalayim. They called the road the Burma Road, and you can see part of it today. It took them over a month to pave that road, and a month after the blockade of Yerushalayim started, some food and water and supplies started to make their way into Yerushalayim. It's a very, very famous story of the Burma Road. You may have heard the name Mickey Marcus. He was the one who was in charge of the project. Even after 1948, when the war was over, the Jordanians kept this spot. And every once in a while, cars that were making their way, or trucks that were making their way from Tel Aviv to Yerushalayim, were shot at. And eventually they realized that they couldn't keep the road open, and a road going around this area was created. And it stayed that way until 1967. Only in 1967, during the Six-Day War, finally this area of Latrun was conquered in a very, very fierce tank attack. All the surrounding Arab villages, which had caused so much trouble to the Jews, and had been so cruel to the Jews simply trying to make their way to Yerushalayim, all those villages were destroyed, and the area was cleared and open to traffic. Because of the battles that took place here, there's a tank museum that was created on this spot. And if you come to visit Israel, or should I say when you come to visit Israel, it is simply a must-see. And tanks from the time of 1948 until today are on display here. So you can see the Gevurah of the modern day Maccabim. So what a great spot to be, students. Across the valley from us, Emmaus, the battle of the Maccabim. And over here where I'm standing, Latrun, the battle of the modern day IDF. As we said before, the Maccabim of today. But let's continue now to the ancient city of Modyin, the place where the story of the Maccabim began. Come along. We're looking now for the old city of Modyin, and I'm trying to get directions how to get, oh, great. Excuse me, can you tell me, how do I get to the ancient city of Modyin?
חביבי, זה לא בברליץ, דבר עברית.
Oh, תסלח לי, I'm sorry. איך אני מגיע לעיר העתיקה של מודיעין?
תמשיך ישר ישר, ושם תשאל.
שם תשאל, ישר ישר ותשאל.
כן.
מצוין, ומה שמך?
אביב.
אביב, שלום, שלום.
שלום.
ומה שמך?
אבנר.
אבנר, שלום, שלום. אתם רוצים להגיד משהו לילדים בלוס אנג'לס? אולי לשיר משהו?
נשאיר להם שיר על חנוכה?
כן, בבקשה.
חנוכה, חנוכה, חג יפה כל כך. חנוכה, חנוכה, חג יפה כל כך.
אתה רוצה להצטרף לשיר? נו, ביחד. ישועתי
לך נאה לשבח, תיכון בתפילתי, ושם תודה נזבח.
On to Modyin.